So I'm Sebastian Chung. I'm running for State Senate District 29. That's Murphy Creek. That is gerrymandered around 28. So it goes over to Heritage Eagle Bend, that area there. But it doesn't touch Southeast Mall, comes around to where Aurora Mall is, over here by Buckley Air Force Base. Basically, this side of the pool is my district. All the way out to Lowry Park and Delmar Park, which I have been knocking every day, 6 to 8 hours a day. Today I did it too, and most tiring thing I've ever done, but I'm losing weight, so that's good. But the first thing I want to do is I got to say thank you to my wife Jana, Richard's wife Jeanette, and Jeff's wife Youngson. If you guys haven't met them, they have helped us so much with our campaigns. They've helped me with mine, and it's great, so please give them a round of applause. The other people I want to thank are Josh, Andy, and Greg Harper back there. These guys helped put this together as well. They got the pizzas here, they got everything organized with me. Fantastic people, so thank you guys. So I'm going to jump into this. I'm going to tell you guys right now, if you haven't heard my story before, I was raised by a single grandmother. She made under 20 grand a year. She never took welfare. She never took food stamps, any government housing. She taught me, hard work is better than a handout. Okay? We went through rough times where we were eating beans and cornbread quite a bit. But it got me through to a point where I was able to start my own businesses and be very successful. I can tell you right now, I was at a forum last night. And I saw these people that are career politicians. They don't have any other job. Politics. Okay, let me tell you something. In the state capital, you make $30,000 a year and you get some per diem for driving out there. It's like 45 bucks, okay, for 120 days. Now, 30 grand for 4 months to me is a little crap. Yeah. But that's what they make, okay? So, good on them. Well, one of them's walking around with a $1,500 Louis Vuitton purse. I didn't know. I'm sorry, I don't know a person. But my wife pointed it out. We walk outside of the parking lot as we're leaving. Now, look, I'm a business owner, okay? I've made some pretty good deals in my life. I've made some success. I'm not Donald Trump successful, but I've made some pretty good deals, okay? And I can tell you right now, I drive a Honda Accord. Not because I don't want a Ford F-150, because it's not economical for me. It's not worth the $800 no car payment, because I can get $400 a month and get myself to work. I had a BMW in the past. It was great, but it wasn't practical, because that's not the way life needs to be, right? These guys, I walk out there, there's a brand new Cadillac. There's a brand new, and if you guys don't know, Chevy Tahoe is $75,000 Tahoe, fully loaded up, okay, to these people. They're driving these brand new cars, and I'm just sitting there and I'm thinking, how the hell does this make sense? I'm trying to do the numbers in my head and say, there's no way, and then you look at where they live, and you look it up, and I know that's creepy, but you can look it up and you can see it. And you think, that's a $400,000, $500,000 home. There's corruption in politics, and I'm so sick of it. I'm so sick of it. And it's not just at the Democrat level, it's at the Republican level, it's at all of it. And that stuff needs to be weeded out. And people who do that need to be called out. I promise you right now, one of the promises I will make is I will call that out. I am not afraid of these people. If I don't get elected or re-elected or whatever the case is, that's fine. Because I will make a point to make these people's lives miserable when they're stealing from the taxpayers. And we go down there, and this forum last night, I heard funding. We don't have enough funding for our schools. We don't have enough funding for medical, Medicaid, and all this stuff. They had a thing that everybody asked, will you raise your hand if you would support an increase in Medicaid? I wouldn't do it. Not because I don't want to help people. Not because it's maybe not needed. The reason I wouldn't do it was pretty simple. Because here's the deal. If we're already in the hole $300 million, we're just going to give them more money? No. We need to balance the budget first. We need to make sure that we're doing the right thing. Whether it's roads, whether it's schools, whether it's anything. I don't want to cut funding to schools. Trust me, I would want kids to get good education, but the thing is if my dollar is, if I can get something for $1 and they're getting something for $10 and it's the exact same thing, we're comparing apples to apples, that is a problem, and that's what politicians are doing right now. Okay? They go on, it's a go on the car lot, and they look at that one and they just say, I want that one. They don't care about the price, they don't care about negotiating, they just say they want that one, and that's what goes. We're building mausoleums, we're building these big, beautiful monuments for schools. But we don't have enough desking. We don't have enough books. That's not right spending, and that's what I'm about. That's what I've been about with my business, is we need to get that. So my focus is pretty simple. I want to reform the tax code. I believe that anybody that first $50,000 a year or anybody under $50,000 a year should have no state income tax. And there's a reason why. I know, when we're talking about budgets, we're going to all want to beat the hell out of me next year when we're doing it. But here's the reason why. Wages aren't going up, cost is. My predecessor, and I would put her on blast, Morgan Carroll. She's running up against Mike Hoffman, okay? She was one of the opponents of this Construction Defect Act. This act has brought housing costs like crazy, okay? We're looking at houses that 2-3 years ago were $200,000, they're now $450,000. We're looking at people that are Colorado's being priced out of Colorado, okay? We can't afford a home. I'm a business owner. My wife works full time. We can't afford homes here. Partially because I'm not going to spend that money on cheap, but it's ridiculous, okay? And those are things we need to fix. So I believe that if I don't want to go after businesses, I am sick and tired of saying raise the minimum wage, raise this. What the hell is that? The government solution is not to ever look at themselves. They never look in the mirror. What they do is they look for people to push things on. You need to pay more. You need to pay more. You need to pay more. No, the government needs to take less. I want the government to take a pay cut. So that's my focus. And I will tell you guys this, and Jan's going to hate me for doing this. I don't want a salary. I'm not going to take a salary from the state government. I don't want it, okay? I want that money to go back to taxpayers. And I know we talked about it earlier. If I have to give that to charity, if that's the case, that's fine. I'll give it away. I do not want money from the taxpayers. It's not mine. I'm doing this for public service, not self-service. The other thing I want to focus on, I hit on it, was education. We don't have the desk. We don't have the books. The teachers are, I don't want anybody else to say, teachers are pretty underpaid, okay, for what they have to deal with. Now, they get summers off, and God bless them for that. I wish I could get summers off. I wish I could get any time off. I'm telling you right now, I've gone through 3 pairs of shoes just knocking doors. But you can see this, okay? They're not doing what they're passionate about. They're testing. They teach the test. Well, when you teach the test, you don't teach kids anything. Because they get out of there, they learn what they need to know for 2 weeks, and then guess what? They're gone. It's gone. It's not in their head. We need to start ingraining learning. We need to start teaching skills again in school. We need to be out there because people can't afford college. I couldn't afford college coming out of high school. Okay? I was raised by a single grandmother. We didn't have money. I didn't get to grow up in the fanciest of environments, okay? And I know what these kids are doing, and they're struggling, and we're setting kids up for failure by doing this. So we need to focus on teaching skills through curriculum reform, not through throwing money, because when you throw money at a problem, you're lighting, gasoline to a fire, and that will never fix the issue until you come up with a solution. That's why I tell everybody, I don't know if I said it already, I apologize, I'm a little tired, but I don't consider myself a Republican, I don't consider myself a Democrat, I consider myself a solution hitter, if you will, right? Solutions, whatever you want to call me. I believe in solutions. I don't care who comes up with it, if it's a Republican, if it's a Democrat, if it's the right fit. We've got to stop this partisan bickering, all that, and we have to actually look and say, okay, does this make sense? Does it make sense in our budget? Does it make sense fiscally? Does it make sense for the people? And if it does, we do it, and we deal with it, okay? The idea right now, give you an idea with healthcare. We look at healthcare and we say, Amendment 69, that's the big socialist push, okay? Well, that's just going to destroy the economy. It's not going to fix anything, and it becomes a constitutional amendment. I know you talked about marijuana. It's a constitutional amendment. If you want to fix something, hey, there's a way to test drive things. It's called making the legislation, making the policy in the Senate and the House. We do it. If it doesn't work, we repeal it. Nobody wants to do that because they're too scared. If you guys own businesses, if you know businesses, let me tell you something. It's trial by fire sometimes. You have to get nervous. I'm okay with doing that if it makes sense. If we believe it will work, let's do it. But I'm not going to put something in the Constitution that's ridiculous. That's what the special interest stuff is doing here in Colorado, and you can see it. Biggest thing for me, too, is getting government out of people's personal lives. I'm sick and tired of government over-regulating everything. Okay? I sat in on a forum that talked about criminal justice reform, police reform, all this stuff, right? And one of the biggest things I said was this. I said, well, hey, there was a few Democrats there, and one of them was Javon Nutt. If you guys don't know Javon, I don't agree with him and his policies whatsoever. Personally, I can have some banter with him. He wears sweater vest. I usually wear sweater vest when it's winter. I love sweater vests, so I gave him props for that. That's about the only thing I give him props for. But, he was talking about, oh, cops this, cops that, cops this, cops that. We keep putting people in jail, jails and this. And I'm saying, hey, why we're putting people in jail? You know why we're doing this? Because we're making so many damn laws that are taking people and they have no choice but to go to jail. Cops are having to work overtime to figure out what's legal and what's not legal. They're having to do this and that. Let's stop over-restricting people. And let's start giving people their freedoms back like you're supposed to have in this country. So those are my focuses. The biggest thing for me is if I'm going up against Rhonda Fields, if you guys don't know her, she put the magazine restrictions in place back in 2013. Her focus is gun control. If you look at her campaign's all about the past, what she's And I don't like to bash anybody, so I'm not going to bash, and I won't go on any personal levels here. That's not me. I don't do the bickering. But I will tell you right now, if you look at her policy, you look at her voting record, that's what it is. She has one bill, and she has a voting record. I am sick and tired of politicians coming in office and having a voting record. You don't go in office to have a voting record. You go in there to have a voice. You go in there to put bills up. If you're too scared to put bills up, sit down and let somebody else do it. I promise you, if I get elected, I will fight like crazy to make sure things get done right. I don't care if they're Republican ideas or Democrat ideas, I will make sure things are right and they are done right. And I'm going to do it for free, so what better, right? But the last thing I'll tell you this is, there's another problem I mentioned. I know I'm ranting. I sometimes do that. Watching videos, one of the biggest things I notice is we have 120 days ahead of us, right? 30 grand a year for 120 days worth of work. 120 days. That's 4 months out of the year. There is no company in the entire world that their leaders work 4 months out of the year. That makes no sense to me. So I promise you this, I may not be able to change that, but I will not work 120 days out of the year. I have already had somebody taken over for me in my company. I have left my business. I still have it, but I have left it as a leader to focus on this, and I plan on getting elected, and I plan on staying away from it so I can focus on this, because I will work year-round to make sure that we get policies done, to make sure that every budget, every department is functioning right, that we have the right amount of money in, because if they need $10 million and they're getting $4 million, that's going to come back on us, and if they need $4 million and they're getting $10 million, well, that means they're going to be eating a lot of lobster dinners. And let me tell you something, if you work for the government, I'm sorry, but you ain't eating lobster dinners on my dime, you can do it on your own. Any questions?
There's a couple of things that I want to touch base. One is we talk about education. And I grew up in New York City, went to junior high school before middle school here. But I left junior high school with a D average. My parents, less than middle class, they worked overtime, they put me to a military school, and I went to a 4.0 average. Vouchers for the families that want to send their kids to a better school instead of continue the failing school. Okay, is one thing that I would encourage. Another thing, the state legislators gave themselves last year a raise, you know that. They didn't come to us and ask us, we're the boss. They didn't ask us, and I told Ron Fields and I told Morgan Carroll, I said, what nerve you have to give yourself a raise? We're the people that pay your salary. Why didn't you ask us? They couldn't answer. And another thing, what is wrong with doing away, because other states, Florida and Texas, I believe, do not have a state income tax, but we have a consumption tax.
Yeah.
A consumption tax, everybody will pay. That pimp, that pusher, you name it, they will pay that consumption tax and eliminate the state income tax. I brought that up to Morgan Carroll. And of course, oh, you can't do that. Why not? Other states have it. Why do we have to deal with this? And you keep on picking our pockets.
Well, we do. We do have a sales tax. The problem is we have 69 individual taxes at the state level. If you want to get into Aurora itself, just so you know, if you're a business owner in Aurora, if you have a business front and you use toilet paper, you have a toilet paper use tax. There's a ton of stupid taxes. You would say that 69 individual taxes, not to mention the registration fees and things like that. It's not about more taxes like they want. It's about balance. We can do away with state income tax. We can do away with a lot of these taxes if we just balance. Our state budget has ballooned 40% over the past 6 years. That's ridiculous. Nothing has come of it. But that's what you get when you get leadership. And I'll bash our governor, John Hickenlooper, because he was supposed to be the jobs governor, and he did not create the jobs that he was supposed to do. He allowed for the spending and stuff. He said he was a conservative Democrat. He is not. I'm all for however you want to live your life. If people elected him, they elected him twice. He has that right, but he did not do what he said he would do, and that's a problem. So I agree with you. We need to do away with state income tax. It's my biggest platform. It was when I first started. I've looked at the budget. My process is progressive. It's to start at $50,000 and everybody their first $50,000 not to pay. And then after that, a couple of years down the line, we can look at it again and we can say, hey, can we do away with state income tax, or can we raise the number even more? So everybody their first $100,000, they don't pay. I don't like state income tax. Trust me, I don't like the government, the state government taking 5% of my pocket. and then charging me each year for, you know, registration fee for my car and everything else. Anybody else have any questions?
How about the school?
What about
School vouchers.
I don't give a school vouchers. Here's the thing with that. I don't want to let APS die. There's the concept that if, you know, school vouchers are wonderful. The problem is if you can take your kid to another school, great. But if you go into deep rural, okay, you go into where Delmar Park is, where I'm knocking right now, and you talk to these people. You knock on their door, they're home, they don't have jobs, they don't have cars, okay, they can't take their kids to Cherry Creek School District, they can't take their kids anywhere. I want to make sure that we make every school work for everyone. We can give vouchers, I'm fine with vouchers, I have no problem with that, but I do not want to let these schools that they're the only schools these kids can attend because of transportation reasons die. I won't do that, and I will never support that. But I'm fine with tax credits, I'm fine with finding a way. I don't have the way yet. I don't know if it's vouchers, if it's tax credits, whatever it is. But I am not going to let schools die. Not when there's kids that are struggling. Let me tell you something, I was one of them. We didn't have the transportation for me to go anywhere. I would walk to school 2 blocks a day because that was all we had. So I like the idea, but we've got to find a way to help every kid.
Yeah, so I just graduated high school. And,
I'm just kidding.
and one of the things, school choice is great, but the problem with public school is every single kid is now being learned to test. They're not being learned to learn, they're being learned to test. So that then the kids pass their tests, so then the school gets funding, so then it's just a cycle, and people are not learning. They learn to test, they pass the test, and then it's on to the next test. So there's no learning, really.
Yeah, you're right, Don. It's all testing. It's ridiculous. It's been that way. I'm 27 years old, so I mean, I know I look like I'm 14. I'm very young, so I mean, I'm not too far out of high school. And I can tell you that it started that way when I was in high school, and it's growing and it's getting worse. That's all teachers do, and you see this each year. Good teachers leave and they go find a new career because they're sick and tired of not doing what they're passionate about.
Well, yeah, in my church I have 4 teachers, and they teach at high school and junior high. And they say this Common Core is horrible because a lot of what they get, the results, the kids are already gone. They get it after the kids have already moved on. So they can't even interact with the kids and say, okay, this is no more. And they say it's horrible, this Common Core.
You know, I think every Republican, and I think most Democrats are kind of seeing that. They don't want Common Core. I don't think anybody does. I don't know why it's even around. I know we talked about Michael Venn being a proponent, maybe people at the federal level, but here's my thought process. If you're at the federal level and you're talking about education, talk about ways you can maybe give some of your federal dollars that I don't know how they call tax revenue because they didn't work for it, but the money that they take from taxpayers, maybe find that way to give it to the states for more funding for schools so I can get some of these people that say we need more funding off my back. But we should not be mandating education curriculum at the federal level because the thing is every state's different. And I tell this when people ask me who I'm voting for president, and I'll tell you, it's pretty simple. It doesn't matter who the president is at my level because I'm going to have to filter no matter what policies it is down because there is no such thing as a one-size-fits-all for this country. There isn't. I wish there was, but we're a massive country. We have to understand that California is going to be California. Texas is going to be Texas. New York's going to be New York, and we're going to be Colorado. And I'm so sick and tired, and it goes back to the testing. I'm so sick and tired of us doing these standardized testing for money and more than anything to keep up with the Joneses. We want our test scores to be higher than theirs so we can say, look how great our education is. I want to keep up with Colorado. That's not what we're doing right now. We're more focused on everyone else than ourselves. So yeah, I would definitely fight against anything that's going to come from the federal level for education. Let that be decided here in our state. That's our job. It's our kids. Washington has no clue. I don't have a clue about much of anything, to be honest with you. Any other questions? Sebastian John. I say it more enthusiastically. I'm sorry, guys. I'm a little tired. I've been knocking like crazy hours. I've been out in the sun. I had a fever last night when I was on this farm. It was great. It was even better, though, because even though I was getting red, Rhonda Fields was getting redder than me. She was getting angry because every time there was somebody that brought something up, I'd bring up a better point, and she's just sitting there. And even she was nodding, and she's like, catching herself nodding to my point. So, I encourage you, I agree with what Sebastian said here. Man, I had to take a double take. So, you know, I apologize for not being as energetic. I probably should drink about 8 more sodas before I walked up here. But you can tell I'm passionate about this. There are so many problems we've got to fix. Any other questions? Oh, great, this guy. What do you want, Rich?
Can I have your paycheck?
I was hoping you were going to fund me, man. That's how I was going to do this. You know, I was going to be like, hey, Richard, come on, man. You need that vote in the Senate? Come on. No, the reason why I'm not, and I'll tell you this, is I'm sick and tired of money just being politics, right? Right now, if Bernie Sanders got the only thing he ever got right was there's too much money in politics. There is, because it costs a lot of money to fund this, but it's not about the money that's being funded, it's about who's giving the money. It's not coming from people. People in Colorado, just so you know, you all know, you can write a $400 check maximum per person.
I'm unlimited.
Oh yeah. Here's the thing, it's funny. A small donor committee, a company can have a small donor committee, they can give up to $2,500. Can't tax it. How much can tax them up? They can give up to like thousands.
Small donor committees are
4850. Those small donor committees are companies. They're not people. They're companies, unions, and all that, right? And that is not right. That's where it's wrong. And on top of that, have you guys ever seen a 50-inch flat screen TV for $50? You tell me how that's possible a gift. Because politicians are allowed to get gifts. I think that's ridiculous. Go look at the Secretary, I'll leave you with this. Go look at the Secretary of State's website, trace it, okay? You can look my name up, you can see where my contributions came from. You can see all of ours, you can see where we spent our money, you can see that Richard, I'll give him a big applause here, put $10,000 of his own money when I last checked on you. I spy on other candidates. That's very impressive, right? He's that much dedicated to doing this. So I'll forgive you for not taking a salary.
You should have said it on the wire.
Yeah. Oh, should it? No? You should be asking him for receipts too.
Yeah.
But go look at that. Go look at every single candidate you want to. If you want to find corruption, it's right in front of you. You just didn't know. And you can see it there. You can see what they spend their money on. And you can see how politicians stay politicians. Because you'll be surprised where they're getting their money from. And it's a big circle. Because that money's not leaving that circle. It's going from one politician to the other. Because every politician's a consultant. Every politician has their own political company. Every politician's this and that. And every politician's getting some pretty nice gifts.